Hi, my name is John Liu, maker of Flow Studio. Today I want to record a video about two features in Flow Studio, and combined together they deal with a particular situation where a maker that owns maybe several flows is about to leave, or maybe you just want to transition a whole bunch of flows from a maker into a service account. So let's go over to Flow Studio. FlowStudio.app is an application I built, and the top tab here that you see is actually the free one. This is the free one. In the second tab here, there is the admin. Right, so we switch to the admin field. And this requires a service account that has maybe the admin permission. Now in the admin field, we want to basically find this flow from Gandalf. Important business critical flow. So that's a flow from Gandalf. The first tool in Flow Studio that we need to do is we can right click and grant admin as flow owner. So this basically means that we will add ourselves as an owner to this business flow, to this flow that belongs to Gandalf. That's going to do that. And then there will be a brief refresh and we will be added to that account. So once we've added, we can actually click and go right into that flow. Typically a flow, so now you see that we have been added as an owner, whereas previously if we have not been added as an owner, we will not be able to go in and see this. Now even if we go in, we will see that, oh, these are still using Gandalf's permissions. And to do this next part inside Flow Maker Portal, you have to go into each flow, click on the ellipsis, and then switch out every connection. So yes, we will need to go into each flow and then change ellipses. So if your flow is quite complicated and there's a lot of them, this could be quite tricky. Instead, we're going to back out. We're not going to save. It's still using Gandalf's connection, doesn't have my connections. And this connection, we actually cannot use this connection going forward, because once Gandalf's account has been disabled, we won't be able to connect to SharePoint using that account. So Flow Studio has a second piece that helps, and that's actually Eco Migrate. And we'll show you how that works. So in Flow Studio Migrate, the idea of Migrate really is to help us take a flow and copy it to another location. So we can copy flows between different environments. We can also copy one flow as a template onto many other flows. So if you have a SharePoint flow in one site, you might want to clone that into multiple sites. So we're gonna create a plan. We're gonna call it by Gandalf. There's a new plan. It's gonna be coming from the default. I believe that's a default environment, and the destination is also the default environment. So let's just do that. It's reading all the flows and connections. So once that's read, we can hit add. We can save that. We can hit add a flow. Now we add a flow, and then here we can pick basically important business critical flow. And here we actually want to override the same one. So we're gonna call it this. We're gonna filter the same one. You can use this to create a new name as well. Then it will create a new flow. If we pick the same name, then it will pick that up. Expand this, and the wizard will go through and pick and read the flow and pick out the various connections and variables. So it's picked out URLs and list GUIDs, display name, and so on. Now, in the scenario where we're actually overriding the original flow, so this flow is we're overriding the original. By default, Migrate will skip this. So you must override this and say force override. So that one's important. The state is whether you want this to be, keep to whether it's currently started and keep started or stopped. Otherwise, you could say, no, we want to basically change the connection first, but stop it. And then we'll manually check it before we start it again. Maybe you want to do that. But let's just keep that to default. We're not changing the name. We're not changing any of this. But we are going to change this connection. So if I click this, Flow Studio will filter the connections available to you based on what else is in your list. Now I have unfortunately created many SharePoint connections. Any one of these will work. So I just pick one. Hopefully you just have one. But this one, we can give it a nice description too. Gandalf's going away to a tower or something. Need flows to keep working. So that's our little description. And that description is purely for the deployment plan. It doesn't get written into the flow. That's just to help us remember why we decide to do a certain replacement. Now these things, because we're not actually replacing, we can tidy up the plan and say, no, we don't need to change any of those. We don't even need to touch the state. So we need the override and we need this. And we want to save that as a plan. And in fact, you can add multiple flows. So if Gandalf is leaving and there are several flows that are important, you can go through this many times and add multiple. Once you're ready, you can just run the plan. Now, run the plan will basically loop through each one of these flows and perform all the replacement necessary. So this will replace connection strings, it will replace SharePoint URLs if you want to, any elements within the definition, and then update it into the destination. So that's actually already completed, and then it's rereading the environment just to refresh everything. But if we come back here now, if I just refresh, you'll see a few things has happened. So firstly, the My Connections has been added, and Gandalf's one is still available, but it's no longer being used. You see, it's not being used. Okay, and if you go into the flow, you will see all the actions have been switched over to the connection that I've selected. Okay, and this will do it to every connection inside. So that is Flow Studio Migrate, and Migrate is very useful for copying and updating. So you might be having 20 copies of flows, and then you have your initial template. So you update the template and then reapply it to all these 20 copies. But you can also use it to basically fix someone's connection as that they may be leaving the company or changing roles. And those are the scenarios. So these are the two tricks. First one is grant admin as owner, and that's available in the admin tab. And the second one is Migrate, which helps you reconnect all the connections. Flow Studio Premium is $20 a month. So I think you will find that it will save you a lot of time. And hopefully we could add a lot more value, manage your flow easier. That's all for now. Bye.